on CityCast Nashville, as part of our continuing series on Nashville's affordable housing crisis, we're looking at the problems older adults are facing. The city has partnered with a program called Nesterly to pair seniors with younger residents through home sharing. And Nesterly's Nashville Community Liaison, Kay Bowers, is here to explain how and why it works. It's Wednesday, May 13th. I'm Marie Cecile Anderson, and this is what Nashville's talking about. Nashville is facing an affordable housing crisis. Right now, in the next decade, we need to build at least tens of thousands of new homes to meet this demand. Do you think we're ever going to catch up?
I think it's going to be hard, but I think we can change the trajectory of what we've been facing. If we execute with boldness the unified housing strategy that has been created over the last couple of years and get out of this kind of silo thinking and more into a systems, comprehensive thinking about what tools are a good fit for these different populations of people like millennials or senior adults, or housing for families, housing for workers, and what kinds of investments can really change things for the better. I've lived in Nashville now 20 years, and my whole career has been spent around housing. But this is the first time that we have actually kind of a vision of how we want to move forward and really be strategic and then tactical in our thinking about how to solve problems. For our senior population, they're the fastest growing population in Davidson County. And unfortunately, seniors are the fastest growing unhoused population. So what can we bring to bear to stop that and to slow that down? Some days I feel like it's climbing Mount Everest, but now finally, we at least have a vision and a direction.
Well, let's get into this innovative thinking. Nashville has huge homes. I grew up over in Oak Hill, sprawling homes, and they tear down the tiny homes and build McMansions. And every time I see these, I do think to myself, who's living there? And are all these rooms being utilized by the people who are living there? Are there empty rooms we're just not using? And what's the better use of this space?
So just for context, I'm a bit of a housing nerd and a person that wants to understand the why. Why and how do we get to this point? So this gets into zoning and zoning laws and how zoning laws were used in decades past to keep people out, quite frankly. If you pass zoning laws that made it a requirement that you had to have 5 acres, like Oak Hill, that's a way to keep people out. A home is a home. It's a place of shelter and safety and security. But what you get into, we've gotten on this cycle of this is a great investment and you can flip it or you can pass it on. And then you're always looking at this, your home, your house, instead of being something that fulfills Maslow's hierarchy of need for shelter, right? It is looked at as something that's commodified that you can use to help earn money, make money, maybe finance your kids' education, those sorts of things. And so in Oak Hill, the way they kept people out was through zoning and redlining decades and decades. So that's a whole nother interview. And so now it's the oddest thing. You see some homes being built, but nobody moves into them. My brother-in-law, the finance guy, saying, Kay, money's looking for a place to park itself, and maybe it goes there and it's used as collateral to do something else. We have lost our capacity to really create the kind of homes that are needed for everyday people.
So tell us about Nesterly, your idea to use those home commodities for the community good.
I was doing a presentation at a Y. I do a lot of presentations, around the county and even into adjoining counties. And inevitably, after the presentations, mostly women come up to me and say, I'm all alone. I've lost my spouse. I have 2, 3 extra bedrooms. It's just me. I'm on one end of the house. Maybe this could be a way for me to be able to stay, because I want to stay in my neighborhood and in my community and near my church or my friends and my neighbors. Home is really very much more than just those 4 walls around you. It's extended out into the neighborhood and with their fellowship that they want to be with. So Nesterly, the idea was created by 2 MIT grad students in 2015. And one of the grad students' name is Noelle, and she has had a very, very close relationship with her grandmother. And so when Noelle came to New York City to go to college, she lived with her grandmother and her housing was taken care of. And then after college, Noelle went to work for the city of New York in their housing and community development department. And she was charged with putting together plans for creating the kinds of housing that was needed. And she looked at the gabillions of dollars and she said, we need innovative, resourceful thinking. She had this conversation with her grandmother, and her grandmother reminded Noelle that at one point in New York City, over half of people renting homes were renting rooms out of other people's homes. This also happened to be the case for my parents before they married, and they were just getting started out on their own. They each rented home. One was in D.C., another one was in Little Rock, Arkansas, and they each rented rooms out of other people's homes. So they had secure, safe, affordable housing when they started their career. And so that was in Noelle's mind when she had this idea to launch Nesterly.
Why is it such a great fit for older residents?
2 reasons. The first reason is it allows them to bring in extra income to pay for things like increased medicine costs, maintenance. There's one example. There's 2 individuals in Nashville. The host's name is Betty, and the renter's name is Bakari. And Betty lives in Old Hickory. She's in her 80s. She wants to stay in her own home. Her health is not the best, but she's able to still be there with home health care. So the rent that she collects from Bakari, who is brand new to Nashville, came here to work for Vanderbilt and wanted to live in a quiet place. And Old Hickory is a quiet place. She didn't want to live in the hustle and bustle. She was starting this new job. She wanted to focus on this new job. Bakari is really the kind of companion for Betty that she needs so that she didn't have to live alone. And then Bakari runs simple errands for like picking up medicines, that sort of thing. So it's been a very good relationship.
It is my absolute favorite time of year again. And if you've never been to Musicians Corner in Centennial Park, now is your time to go. Honestly, there is nothing else like it in Nashville. It's a totally free, multi-genre concert series that's been bringing people together for nearly 2 decades. It's super laid back and family friendly. Bring your dog, bring the kids, throw down a blanket, grab some food, and just hang out while listening to the most incredible live music from local artists and beyond. It all happens Friday nights and Saturday afternoons through June 13th with food trucks, artisan vendors, drinks, and more. This year's lineup includes Maddie Diaz, The Verve Pipe, Amanda Shires, John Paul White, S.G. Goodman, the Nashville Symphony, and a ton of other amazing performers. Musicians Corner is produced by the nonprofit Centennial Park Conservancy and supported by CityCast Nashville. Visit musicianscorner.com for the full lineup. Hey y'all, quick question. If you're going to spend money on your home, don't you want it to actually count? Because here's the thing, experts say windows retain up to 80% of their value. So upgrading your windows now isn't just about comfort, it's a long-term investment. And if your current windows are builder grade or just old, you're probably losing money every single month through higher energy bills. But no worries, that's where Window Nation comes in. They build custom, high-quality windows, measure 3 times to make sure everything fits perfectly, and their crews can install them in just one day. And here's the good news. Window Nation's Buy 4 Windows, Get 4 Free sale is going on now. You could literally replace your entire home's windows and get half of them for free. They have installed over 3 million windows, have tens of thousands of 5-star reviews, and back everything with a lifetime warranty. But hurry, the sale ends soon. Don't wait to put an end to your window problems. Schedule a fast, free consultation now at windownation.com. Why is aging in place such a big deal for seniors?
It goes right back to that word home. Home is, as I said, more than bricks and mortar. Just a box around them. Home is memories. Home is their neighbors. Home may be their community center down the road where they go to be with people, so they're not isolated. Isolation is one of our greatest challenges for our seniors. When people are isolated, it affects everything and their health deteriorates. When your mental health is good, your physical health is good.
I was surprised to learn that social workers are involved. Why is that important?
Because social workers, by nature of their very training, they know what questions to ask. And they know how to cause the cream to rise to the top and really make it possible for people to think through this step. And it's a significant step, right? And so they help them think through all sides of it. Well, simple things like, I don't want smokers in my home, or I can't have pets, or I have a dog. One woman made a point to mention that she has grandchildren that she loves to have visit regularly. So she wants any potential renter to know that she might have little ones running around the space sometimes. And, kids are kids. And Nestorly's customer support team is involved from the very beginning step. There's a process to go through just to help people manage their expectations for the 12-point background check to be performed. Letters of references are required. And so Nestorly's customer support team really facilitates the process of the relationship beginning to end between the host and the potential renter.
Some people might hear this and think, living with a stranger, no thank you. What do you say to that?
Like Betty and Bakari, that's how they started out. Betty wasn't sure. She's not even from here. She ended up as a transplant, right? And she has made Nashville her home. So Betty started out with a 3-month agreement, and now it's more than a year because she's renewed it and it's worked.
How did your partnership with Metro Nashville come together?
Pre-pandemic, as we call it, in the pre-pandemic days, organizations that work with seniors on a regular basis, like Age Well, 50 Forward, Greater Nashville Regional Council, in their conversations and meetings among themselves, they made the decision that we need help in Nashville to establish a model that would make it possible for seniors be able to age in place and create housing stability for them. And so they began to advocate with Metro Nashville government, with the mayor's office, with Metro Council, and they reached out to another advocacy group, social justice advocacy group that advocates and is heavily involved on the housing side of things. And this group is called NOAH. I'm active with NOAH. I've led their housing task force and worked with them since 2017. So they asked NOAH if we would join them in advocating Metro Council and the mayor's office at that time as Mayor Cooper to set aside some funding to begin a home sharing initiative in Nashville. And so that was approved, and funding was available through the American Rescue Plan monies to put out, they put out an RFP looking for entities, businesses that have these sorts of home sharing programs. And so through that RFP process, the decision was made by Metro Housing Division staff to award a contract to Nestorly. It is true what people say, the wheels of government turn slowly. And they did. And so finally, in late 2023, they realized they needed somebody in Nashville that had the relationships, particularly around housing. And because I've been here for 20 years and I worked in the housing field for about 30 years. In my last, before I supposedly retired, you know what they say about that. The last 15 years, I was the executive director of New Level Community Development Corporation, developing, providing housing here for individuals and families in Nashville. They asked me to come on and serve as Nashville's community liaison for Nesterly here. I said yes to that.
Why is the city of Nashville investing in this instead of just building more housing?
Because the cost per unit to build is over $450,000. The cost for this is pennies compared to that. And so, yes, we need to build. But if there is also an additional way to provide housing, we need to be doing that. And this is low cost. And so you're able to help someone maintain their housing and stay in their home and help another person get into simple, fit, and affordable housing that needs it. And 68% of millennials are renters. That is a significant number. The cost of for sale homes is so high. So you have more renters that need housing. And if someone did this for several years, think of the money they could save and use that money to help them buy someday or pay down their student loan debt. Financially, on the renter side, it's a real win-win, but also on the homeowner side, you know, the people that helped build the city, made the city what it is, they can stay here and stay stably housed. And I think it's so important to me that we prioritize all these people that worked and built and, you know, want to still live in this city.
Realistically, though, how much impact can this really have on Nashville's housing shortage?
If you're just looking at for big numbers on the surface, it may look like it's not much. But if you compare the cost to build and you reduce some of the units that you need by creating a home sharing program, it's a significant cost savings for the taxpayers of Nashville. And so as a taxpayer, I'm happy for my money to go to this initiative. And it has other significant values for Nashvillians, which, you know, from a community's perspective, I'm a real advocate of community well-being and what makes a strong, healthy, thriving community. And I think this is one component of it.
You've worked in housing here for 2 decades. The same barriers keep popping up to block the creation of the housing we need. What gives you hope for the future?
Well, a couple of things. At the state level, we knew this was going to happen. At the state level, we now have a housing crisis border to border. So our legislators are now faced with the fact that in their own districts, housing affordability and supply is a real problem. And so at the state level, all of a sudden, legislators that weren't necessarily in favor of allocating monies to help increase the supply or make it more affordable have changed their mind. And so that makes it more possible for us to be innovative in Nashville without worrying about them preempting something that we want to do. Issues and problems that you're trying to solve, it sometimes creates strange bedfellows. So that's one of the changes that we have seen, which gives me hope that we can do more, begin to do more in the future around housing and house affordability. Also, because advocates are now doing their homework, and I believe you need to know more than the person you're talking to. So if you're going to be talking to the mayor, you're going to be talking to Metro Finance Director, you're going to be talking to Metro Council members, you need to know more than they do, and you need to anticipate the questions they might ask. And so now advocates are going into these conversations very savvy, and it's making a difference in the mindsets of our council members and our mayors because we got our facts.
Well, amazing, Kay. If somebody's listening right now and they do want to I don't know, maybe sign up, see if they can find the perfect person to move in with them, where would you point them to?
The easiest place to start would be just to go to nesterly.com, Nesterly. And if you want to talk to someone, you can also, there's a phone number where you can get connected. Someone always calls you back.
Wonderful. Well, we'll put that link in today's show notes, folks. Kay, thank you so much. Thank you for your advocacy and thank you for sharing your wisdom with us today.
You're welcome. Thanks so much, Marie.
Hey, y'all, real quick before we go, I have some very exciting news to share. The CityCast Nashville team is growing, and today we are officially kicking off our search for another host to join us on the mic and help serve our listeners as a trusted voice here in Nashville. And before anyone panics, y'all, I am not going anywhere. I absolutely love this job. I'm still going to be on the mic daily, but what might change is I am hoping that I get to be out in the community more, talking to y'all, being out in the field and leaning into my producer brain. So if there's someone in Nashville you think would be great for this role, we would love to hear about them. So email us at nashville@citycast.fm. Maybe it's you. We would love for you to come work with this incredible team and help share your love for Nashville the way we try to every single day. That's all for today here on CityCast Nashville. Want to support this show and get great perks? Become a CityCast Nashville neighbor today at membership.citycast.fm. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell your friends? Rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our CityCast Nashville newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Toodles!